Hi children, hope you are fine. Today we can learn class 3 English. Lesson 13, Pollyanna's Game. Lesson 13, Pollyanna's Game. Adapted from Pollyanna by Eleanor Potter. Adapted means it is a small change or a slight change from the book Pollyanna by Eleanor Potter. The characters of this book are Pollyanna, then Miss Polly Harrington, and the servant Nancy. The characters are Pollyanna, a 11-year-old girl, a niece of Miss Polly Harrington. Niece means a daughter of one's brother or sister. She is 11-year-old girl. Her name is Pollyanna, who is an orphan. Orphan means whose parents died, and now she comes to live with her aunt, Miss Polly Harrington. And the next character is Miss Polly Harrington, is Pollyanna's mother's sister. Pollyanna's mother's sister. She was very strict and harsh, displeased, or looking very angry. Pollyanna is a niece of Miss Polly Harrington. Now, next person is Nancy. Nancy is a maid servant of Miss Polly Harrington, and she was very friendly and plays with Pollyanna the glad game, the happy game. In this lesson, we can see that Pollyanna is coming to live with Miss Polly Harrington, the aunt of Pollyanna, her mother's sister. After her parents died, she came to live with her aunt. We can see what or how she is living with her aunt. Miss Harrington lives in a large house with many servants. So, Miss Polly Harrington lives in a very large house with many servants, and one of the servants' name is known as Nancy. Pollyanna teaches Nancy a game. So, the 11-year-old girl teaches Nancy a game which was taught by her father. The name of the game is Glad Game. Being glad game, that means always to be happy game. She reaches the house, that means the Pollyanna reaches the house of Miss Polly Harrington, her aunt. And Miss Polly Harrington looked up from her book. When Pollyanna reached the house, Miss Polly Harrington, that means her aunt, was reading a book. She looked up from her book and she held out a hand. That means she gave shake hand to Pollyanna and greeted her. How do you do, Pollyanna? Greeted her. How do you do, Pollyanna? She could not say anything more, and after that she didn't say anything. Pollyanna jumped into her aunt's lap. Pollyanna was very happy to see her aunt. So what did she do? She jumped and sat on the lap of her aunt. Oh, Aunt Polly, I am so happy that you let me come to live with you. So you allowed me to come and live with you, so that I am really happy. She cried with a great surprise. She told, I am very happy to come and live with you because I don't have parents, and then you allowed me to come and live with you. Miss Polly said, Pollyanna, stand erect. Erect means straight. She was very strict. Miss Polly was very strict. Her aunt was very strict. She said, Pollyanna, stand erect. I don't know what you look like, how you are behaving. I don't want you like this. Pollyanna moved back laughing. So she couldn't understand that the character of her aunt. So she laughed and she moved back and stood straight. Miss Polly asked, "Do you have a trunk?" "A large, strong box with a lid." Do you have a trunk? Trunk means a large, strong box with a lid, with cover. "Yes, Aunt Polly, but I haven't got much in it. I don't have much things in my hand." "We will go upstairs to your room." So Polly said that, Aunt Polly said that, "We will go upstairs to your room. Your trunk is already there. Follow me." So now you follow with me. Follow me. There is a trunk for you and you can keep the things in that room. The room is upstairs in the upper floor of the building. Without speaking, Pollyanna followed her aunt. Without saying anything, Pollyanna followed her. She went on the stairs now. Now they are going upstairs. She saw a room through an open door. She could see a door. It was opened and she saw so many things there. It had soft, colorful rugs. Rugs means a small carpet was there. Pretty chairs, beautiful chairs were there. On every wall were paintings in bright golden frames. It was covered with bright golden frames. They walked past many doors. Now they went off so many doors. Her room must have curtains, rugs and pictures too, Pollyanna thought. Now Pollyanna, a small girl, while she saw a room, it was of a beautiful rug, beautiful chairs and paintings were there. So she also thought her room must have all these things. What did Pollyanna think? Pollyanna thought that she need curtains on the windows and carpets, beautiful carpets and pretty chairs and pictures should be on the wall. All these things she was thinking and she was going upstairs. Then her aunt opened a door and said, they reached upstairs and her aunt opened a door and said, "Pollyanna, here is your room and your trunk is here. I see here is your trunk. Can you see the trunk there? Have you your key? Do you have your keys with you?" So these are the things you have now. This is your room and this is a box you have, and do you have your keys? Miss Polly asked her. Pollyanna nodded. Nodded means the movement of head, saying yes or no. Her eyes were a little wide and scared. Now she was little afraid of her aunt. Her aunt frowned, looked angrily. "When I ask a question, Pollyanna, I want you to answer aloud. So when I ask you a question, you have to say the answer loudly. Not, you don't want to nod your head, move your head." "Yes, Aunt Polly. Thank you. That is better. That is better." Now you started to say it improved. "You have everything that you need here." So what all things you need, it is here. "Dinner is at 6 o'clock. The night meal will be at 6 o'clock. Be on time," she said as she left the room. When Aunt Polly left the room, what did she say? She said that be on time for dinner. It should be in correct time for dinner. Pollyanna looked at the bare wall. Bare means empty wall. She looked at the empty wall, bare floor. Nothing was there on the floor. She thought about the carpets on the floor. The walls should be with the pictures and the bare windows. There were no curtains on the windows. The next moment she was sitting next to the little trunk and started crying. She was very sad to see all these things, so she started crying. Nancy found her there when she came up to help her unpack. Who is Nancy? Nancy is the maid servant. She came there and she saw that Pollyanna was crying. Nancy found her there when she came to help her to unpack, to keep the things or remove the things and keep it inside the box. I am bad and wicked, Nancy, Pollyanna sobbed. I am very bad girl and I am not at all good, said Pollyanna, and she started crying. I just can't make myself, I can't just make myself understand that God and angels needed my father more than I did. So I cannot understand why God and angels took my father from me. They needed more than me. So I cannot understand why they took my father away from me. Don't cry, let's open the trunk and take out your dresses, said Nancy. So Nancy felt sad and Nancy said, don't cry and we can open the trunk and unpack the dresses and keep it inside the trunk, said Nancy. Pollyanna took the key out and said, there aren't many there. I don't have many dresses. Pollyanna smiled. Then they are all the sooner unpacked, said Nancy, so we can soon unpack the things and keep it inside the trunk. Pollyanna smiled and said, I can be glad of that, can't I? She cried. I am happy to help you. I am happy. Glad means happy. I am happy to help you. Nancy stared, looked at her. Then with Pollyanna's help, they soon unpacked the trunk. They kept all the things in the trunk, the box, and this is going to be a very nice room. Don't you think so? Pollyanna said. So now she stopped crying and she started to speak to Nancy. And this is going to be a very nice room. Don't you think so? Nancy had no answer. There was no answer from Nancy. Nancy seemed busy. She had enough work at home in the house, so she seemed very busy. Pollyanna said, I can be glad there isn't any mirror here. So here is no mirror, so I can be glad about that. That way I can't see my freckles. Freckles means a small brown marks or spots on the face. So now I am happy there is no mirror in this room. So why she is happy? Because she cannot see the marks on her face. She doesn't like to see the marks on her face, the freckles. Freckles means the spots on the face. But so she is saying that I am glad about that. At one of the windows, a few minutes later, Pollyanna clapped her hands. She looked through the windows and she started to clap her hands. Look at those trees and houses and that lovely church spire and the river shining just like silver. Now she is very happy. Now she clapped her hands. Oh Nancy, I hadn't seen this before. I hadn't noticed this before. Which are the things she noticed now? The trees, houses, lovely church spire. Church spire means the tall pointed part of a church. So she could see all these things through the window. And she says that there is a shining river just like silver. If there was curtains, she could not have seen all these things. Now she is very happy about the scenery outside there. I don't need any pictures with that to look at. Now I don't want any. I am not at all sad. To hide her sadness, now she is saying that now I don't need any pictures because I can see everything through the window now. What are the things she is seeing now? Trees, houses, church spire and the shining silver river. These are the things she can see from there. Now she is hiding her sadness here. I don't need any pictures to look at. I am so glad now that I have this room. I am very happy to have this room now. A bell rang in the hall and Nancy ran out of the room. Now a bell rang and Nancy ran out of the room because Aunt Polly is calling her. Pollyanna went back to the beautiful view from the window. So now she went and she was standing near the window and to see the beautiful scenery outside. Next to this window was a huge tree with long branches. Next to the window there was a huge tree with long branches. Pollyanna climbed down. She slowly caught the branches of the tree and she climbed down, went down out of the room, out through the window. Now she reached in the garden. She was in a garden now. Through the window she climbed down, she went down, and now she reached in a garden. A little path led to a steep hill. A little path, a little small path was there, way was there, and it reached a high hill. Steep means high hill. There was a huge rock on the top of the hill, and she could see a huge, very big rock on the top of a hill. Pollyanna wanted to stand on the top of it. So now she forgot that she was in Miss Polly's house. She went out of through the window, and now she went outside and she is at the top of the hill. 15 minutes later, the great clock in the house struck 6. Now it is 6 o'clock. Miss Polly waited for a few minutes. Miss Polly already told her, you have to be dinner at 6 o'clock. You have to be there for dinner at 6 o'clock. Now the clock struck 6 o'clock. Miss Polly waited for few minutes. Then she said, Nancy, my niece is late. Niece means daughter of one's brother or sister. So now she is late. I told her to be here at 6 for dinner. So I told her to be here at 6 for dinner. She has to learn to be punctual. What she want to study? To be punctual. Punctual means be on time, not to be late. She needs to be punished so that she remembers to come on time. So she need a punishment. As a punishment, then she remembers to come on time. When she comes down, she may have bread and milk in the kitchen. So when she comes down as a punishment, today she can give bread and milk in the kitchen, not in the dining room. Yes, ma'am, said Nancy.